back at it again here on the San Francisco 49ers Report. Chase Sr. here with you, and here's what we have coming up on today's show. Niner fans got some breaking news and some surprising news following the 2025 NFL Draft. I want to talk about this Malik Mustapha injury because it kind of came out of nowhere. Haven't had an opportunity to talk about that over the last couple of days because we've been so busy with our draft coverage. And then also during the NFL Draft, people lost sight of this. A new and major George Kittle contract update. Before we dive in, I want to say thank you to all of the real ones for watching the show and supporting the show. We set records for our NFL draft coverage, and we're 300 people away from 161,000 subscribers. So if you want Niner shows every single day year-round from yours truly right here on the show, lock us in and hit that sub button right now. All right, let's begin with this. This Malik Mustapha injury news came out of nowhere in the aftermath of the 2025 NFL Draft. And after the draft class was set for San Francisco, Kyle Shanahan, John Lynch met with the media, and that's when we got wind that Malik Mustapha underwent surgery on an ACL injury after the season. We had heard nothing about this up until Saturday. Here's what Adam Schefter said about that injury on X. Delayed but significant injury news. Niners safety Malik Mustapha, who is believed to be the replacement for free agent safety loss Talanoa Hufanga, tore his ACL during San Francisco's regular season finale and is not expected to be ready for the start of the 2025 season. We'll talk more about when Mustafa might come back here in just a few moments. This, though, does appear to be the play when Mustafa injured the same ACL that he tore back in 2022. It was in the second quarter against Arizona in that season finale. Obviously, San Francisco suffered so many injuries to so many marquee players during the 2024 season. We thought that we put that in the rear view, and then we hear after the draft that another young stud also got hurt. He took a cleat to his knee here. He immediately grabbed that knee, left the game, did not come back. And here's what we know about what happened. That he got cleated in that knee. It's the same ACL that he tore back in 2022 when he was at Wake Forest in college. When he left the game, the Niners thought he was going to be okay. He just got hit on the knee and had to get taken out of the game, of course, but they didn't think it was going to be a long-term injury. But then later that week, once the season was over, Mustafa underwent an MRI, and it saw and found that the graft in his knee that the doctors had used to repair his ACL in 2022 was torn. The good news is no cartilage or meniscus damage. And by the way, I did a YouTube short on this on Sunday, and some people were saying, Chase, you're saying his name wrong. It's not Malik Mustapha. It's Malik Mustapha. So when will Mustafa return? Not expected to be back for the start of the year. That's what Adam Schefter said. But then there were some conflicting reports that Mustafa wasn't going to be back until the midway portion of the season. And then Mustafa, kind of following in the footsteps of George Kittle last week, when he disputed the report from Diana Rossini, quote tweeted this tweet from Leo Luna. The tweet from Luna had said, devastated for Niners safety Malik Mustapha, who suffered a torn ACL in the season finale and will likely miss time this season. And so Mustafa quote tweeted that, and he said, midseason is crazy, but side note, send me this pick, fam. So there's some chatter here that Mustafa not going to be out until the middle of the 2025 season. He's saying himself that's not going to happen. He's going to be back sooner than that. And what's important to note here is that it's not a full ACL tear. There was just damage to the graft that was used for the previous ACL surgery, and there were some tears in there. But it's not believed to be a full ACL tear. Obviously, over time, the recovery from that injury, a full ACL tear, has changed. It used to be a career ender, and then a lot of athletes were usually out for a year. Now sometimes athletes are coming back in 8 to 9 months. Hopefully, Mustafa can come back sooner rather than later because this sucks for him, and it sucks for the Niners. When Talanoa Hufanga got hurt, his playing time was on the uptick, and he played awesome football last year. And he was looked at as a player going into year two who is going to be a focal point for San Francisco. Good in coverage, good against the run, plays with a lot of speed, plays with really solid instincts. As we know, the level of physicality that he brings to the table is absolutely special. It's one of one. It is very rare. He plays the game the way that safeties used to play the game when I was growing up. The Sean Taylors of the world, R.I.P., Brian Dawkins, Ed Reed, and others. And I imagine for our older audience, those of you who are in your 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, of course, in that era of football, the Ronnie Lotts of the world, that's how Mustafa plays, like a bowling ball, shot out of a cannon, reckless abandon, plays like his hair is on fire. He will run into a brick wall. Like, my man has no fear at all, and he's really, really fun to watch. 72 tackles last year, a pick, 5 pass breakups, that pick coming in Seattle. That was his first career interception. That was the same game that Renardo Green had his first INT, when Isaac Guerrero popped off that 70-yard run to clinch that football game. And so hopefully Mustafa can make a full recovery. Hopefully this isn't something that continues to surface with him. You lose Hufanga, and he got paid, and he was dealing with his own injuries. It looked as though you had your replacement. And he is good enough to be a legitimate safety in this league, and I love the way that he plays. So hopefully these injuries don't keep biting him in the rear. Now, where do the Niners go from here? It's a big year coming up for Jair Brown. Good as a rookie when he replaced Hufanga 2 years ago, intercepted Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl. He was making plays across the yard, and you're thinking, Jair Brown, third-round pick. Niners hit on that selection, but then last year he really struggled. Bad tackles, missed assignments in coverage, over-pursuing on plays, bad angles. Hopefully Robert Saleh can get him back on track, because at Penn State and in year one, I saw a really solid player. But also the signings of Jason Pinnock and Richie Grant in free agency become that much more important. And then the Niners, they drafted Marques Sigle, a safety dime nickelback hybrid out of Kansas State in the 5th round, probably knowing that we're a little bit light at that safety position. Let's draft a young player to see what he can become, knowing that Mustafa might not come back for a little while. That's a player with 4.4 type of speed who's recently made that transition from corner to safety, and he does have a lot of ability. Now, if you want some Niners jerseys, including Mykel Williams, first-round pick, 11th overall from this 2025 draft, you can get it today at chatsports.com/49jersey. You use that link, it'll take you to Fanatics, and then Fanatics will know that Chase Sr., the 49ers Report, and Chat Sports sent you all types of other jerseys available. We showed you Christian McCaffrey, Brock Purdy, George Kittle, Nick Bosa jerseys available as well. Pretty much any Niners jersey that you want. Old school cats like Joe Montana and Jerry Rice, all available thanks to our friends at Fanatics at chatsports.com/49jersey. Support the show, use that link, and we appreciate Fanatics for helping us out here on the program. Let's round out with a George Kittle update. So last week, Diana Rossini had reported that George Kittle did not report to the start of OTAs. Things were far apart between the Niners and Kittle in contract negotiations. Kittle was looking to become the highest paid tight end in football, and a deal was not close. George Kittle then responded to that tweet and said, "Your sources are wrong." I always love when an athlete can speak for being the source himself, because then we just cut through all of the bullshit and we know what's true and what's not. But then Diana Rossini, with the follow-up tweet during the midst of the NFL draft on April 26th, so that would have been day 3 on Saturday afternoon, that negotiations between tight end George Kittle and the Niners continued to move in a good direction. And George Kittle did end up showing up last week for voluntary OTAs after he missed the start of OTAs. Rossini adding that teams did inquire with the Niners about a possible trade, but they are expected to keep him. That shouldn't surprise anybody. George Kittle is still the best all-around tight end in football. Even though he's going to be 32 years old in October, he is still playing at an elite level. He's very unique with the talent in his arsenal because he can pick up yards after the catch. He's such a good blocker. You can use him as a red zone threat. But he's also so dynamic with his route tree, with his getaway speed, with the physicality in which he plays with. He is just an all-around stud. And so teams looking for a tight end, looking for somebody who has a great cultural element to him, are going to make calls about Kittle, especially if they have some cap space. What I think ultimately ends up happening, Kittle and the Niners get a deal done. San Francisco knows that Kittle is a very special, unique, one-of-one player. He is a franchise great, the best tight end in franchise history. Him and Fred Warner, the backbones, part of the fabric, the heart and souls of this organization. And they are a part of the Niners Leadership Council. They've been through so much. They've won so much. They're still going after that Super Bowl, and they're starved to win it. Most importantly, George Kittle's still playing at a really high level. I get he's going to be 32, but we have seen tight ends be able to age pretty gracefully. He's had 2 1,000-yard seasons in back-to-back years. He's looked awesome in the process. He's been a lot less injury-prone than what people make him out to be, as he's always a shoo-in to pretty much play 14, 15-plus games every single season. And lastly, he has been an unbelievable weapon for Brock Purdy. They're always on the same page. They have that kinship. They have that continuity. They have that type of innate feel for one another. And if you're going to pay Brock Purdy 50-plus mil, and you did not draft a tight end in this draft class, and the other okay tight end that you have is Luke Farrell, who's more of a blocking tight end, it just makes sense to get this deal done for that reason and all of the other reasons that I mentioned. So it's good news that Kittle showed up to voluntary OTAs. It's good that talks continue to move in a good direction, because back in February, Kittle had said to, I believe, Brad of SF Niners that, yeah, my agent and the Niners are talking and things are in a good spot, and hopefully they'll be able to hash out that deal. Be sure to give me a follow on X and Instagram, by the way. Thanks to everybody for following me on X over the weekend. Just got to 16,000 followers. Next up, we got to get to 37K on IG. Let's make it happen.